Good morning, my people, for the United Matters channel. Hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. This is Rock and David, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. Smash like button, comment, and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And we come up with 3 stories of Frenkie de Jong, and we're going to be talking Frenkie de Jong in this video only. As Manchester United are open to completing Frenkie de Jong, an approach is going to be made by Manchester United after Barcelona have gone to hit, obviously. It's rumored that Barcelona went ahead, obviously, offer Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United because they believe that he might be surplus to requirement, or he might be that kind of player that they're really willing to obviously move on and obviously see to it that everything really comes to pass. Now, most people have failed to understand why Frenkie de Jong is one of those players that Barcelona want to move on. I really remember doing a story here. I think around... it was around March when Barcelona had gone ahead, obviously, offer Frenkie de Jong a new contract, and Frenkie de Jong had really not gone ahead, obviously, replied or really do the due diligence of coming out, obviously, sign that contract. And Frenkie de Jong is one of those players that signed Barcelona or joined Barcelona 1st of July 2019, right? And he signed what we call a 7-year contract. You get? He signed a contract and extended it in 2020 in there for you, and he's set to be at Barcelona until 2026. Now, if this is 2024, you get me right? If this is 2024 for Frenkie de Jong, right? If this is 2024, that means he's left with just 2 years on his contract, and after next season of 2024-2025, Frenkie de Jong will be left with just 1 year on his contract, and Barcelona have gone ahead, obviously, put in a request of him to renew his contract, and Frenkie de Jong is like, I'm not going to renew my contract at the club of Barcelona. And that is Frenkie de Jong for you. So him to renew his contract, and so that's what I was going to cause all what you're seeing in here for you. Frenkie de Jong is like, all right, I'm very respectful to the club of Barcelona, but I'm not going to renew my contract. One of the reasons as to why he doesn't want to obviously be at Barcelona, the lack of focus, the lack of focus on Barcelona winning trophies. Because if you are at a team and it's really changing very many managers and you are not going to really see lots of positivity in really winning trophies, then you look like, I think I'm in a wrong club. Let me leave the club of Barcelona. And I've gone ahead to see very many people, sorry, not very many people, but some people who obviously do the job like I do here, running the fan channel of Manchester United, come out and obviously put in a very huge shift on how Frenkie de Jong is expected to obviously come out and execute things. But everyone who is coming out and saying that Frenkie de Jong shouldn't be coming in at the club of Manchester United, I don't believe that that person is really in his right sense of mind, because you can't tell me that you are really against the coming in through of Frenkie de Jong. And if at all you want to know how Frenkie de Jong is important to the club of Manchester or any club, go ahead and get his stats, get his stats and really put them all over your fabs that you really think of. Go ahead and do it. You get? He's 100% better than any midfielder we are linked to. He's better than Manuel Ugarte. He's better than Fofana, better than Amrabat, better than Zubimendi, better than Sergio. He's called Sander Berge, right? Any midfielder you're thinking about, Andre from Brazil, this guy is really better, and that's why he's at Barcelona. And he's one of those players that Barcelona wants to move on, not because that he's not part of their plans, but because he doesn't want to renew his contract. And they believe that this is the most ideal season to obviously come out and really get some huge money from Frenkie de Jong, and it's a 30 to 40 million pound deal. Remember, when they offload him, he obviously earns a lot of money. That means they would have gone ahead, obviously getting a salary of 1 to be paid to 3 players. You understand? So there are very many reasons as to why Barcelona want to obviously offload Frenkie de Jong. It's not all about sporting reasons. No way. It's all about Frenkie de Jong not assured of the future of the side of Barcelona and Barcelona wanting to make what we call a financial relief, because Frenkie de Jong really earns a lot of money. And if at all you know how much he earns, you can really come in through and really agree with me that this guy really earns a lot of money, and him earning a lot of money is really one of the reasons as to why he's really there. And they've gone ahead, obviously, coming through and really put in a very huge shift into that side of the guy. So I would love to obviously come in here and obviously hear from you, and especially those in the live chat. We're going to be really having a very huge discussion for like 30 minutes and discussing this deal of Frenkie de Jong. But good morning, welcome to this channel, United Matters channel it is, and this is Rokan David. And you know it very well that we want to hit 20,000 subscribers before the end of this month. And guys, continue to subscribe. How do you subscribe? Lower right bottom corner is the place to be, and after after going to the lower right bottom corner, smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this beautiful channel of ours. And it's already in the mix, right? And we are going to be doing the needful and obviously taking you places to this transfer. Remember, today is the 8th of August, and we are left with how many days? We are left with close to 23 days, 24 days until this summer transfer window comes to an end. And United is really short by 4 signings. Remember, we want to bring in 2 midfielders. We want to bring in a right back and a center back. Now, do you think we can obviously do these deals in the remaining 3 weeks? You get? Do you think we can do those deals remaining into the mix? So, for me, I believe a lot can happen, but continue to subscribe, because we are left with 500 subscribers to hit 19,000. And the more you guys subscribe, the more we really get a lot into the mix. So, let's obviously start it off with the first story that was put out by, he's known as Michael Planet. Michael Planet. He works for the Manchester World UK. He told us that Manchester United have inquired about Frenkie de Jong's availability. So, obviously, Erik ten Hag and Frenkie de Jong are really inseparable. I tell you this because there are few players in the world that are like Frenkie de Jong. I tell you, there are few players that are like Frenkie de Jong in the world. Very few players that you can even ever think of, right? And this guy is really one of those. And Frenkie de Jong has gone ahead to make his own stamp, you know, into the world. When you look at his passing rate, let me read to you certain things and really understand who I'm really talking about. Let me go here to SofaScore, and I talk about this guy who can play as a CDM. He can also play as a number 8. You understand? And let me really go to his passing, and you see how highly rated this guy is. When I talk about him, and if at all United really inquire about him, they are not doing it in the wrong way. They're really doing it for the good of the club of Manchester United. He's just 27 years of age, and I tell you, he can come in through and obviously change everything at the club of Manchester United. Our creativity, our defensive way, and our ball intention. Imagine having Frenkie de Jong in the heart of the midfield, then Lisandro Martinez playing from the back, and those two are really giving us what we call their technical abilities. Do you know what that means? You get? Now, Frenkie de Jong, let's go to his Frenkie de Jong has a 93% passing accuracy. Now, out of all those that are being linked to Manchester United, tell me a player who has a passing accuracy of 93%. In his own half, he's at 96% passing accuracy. That is Frenkie de Jong, right? Then, in the opposition half, he's at 90%. Now, do you know what it means to be having a passing rate? You know? A passing rate of accuracy averaging at 96% and 90% in the opponent's half. You know? It is really extraordinary. This guy is special. He's special, right? Very, very special. And when you look at his defending abilities, because most of you will be like, can he really defend? Interceptions 0.7 per game, tackles per game 2.2, possession won 0.4, balls recovered per game 5.9, dribbled past 0.6, clearances 1.4, error led to shot 1, no error led to goal, and no error led to penalty. That is Frank de Jong for you, and he's really a very good CDM. And I tell you, if we get him at the club of Manchester United, you'll come here and thank me later. A lot would have gone here to change. Imagine Kobe Mainoo and Frankie de Jong into the midfield of Manchester United, and that's why very many people are really pro this guy to come in through and really play for the club of Manchester United. Why? Because they know exactly what it means to have him at the heart of our midfield. That is Frankie de Jong for you, and I'm really excited about him. And I tell you what, for me, I would love him come to Manchester United. You know, some people believe that it was Frank de Jong who really denied to come to Manchester United, but what failed? There are factors that failed Frankie de Jong to come to Manchester United, and they are known for Frankie de Jong. One, it was called the deferred wages, 17 million euros, that he went ahead and told Barcelona that don't pay me that amount of money during COVID, but you'll obviously pay me that money, right? It reached a time when he couldn't leave Barcelona when he demands them, you get? And that's why Barcelona want to sell this player, because they know that the more they keep him around, the more they're really going to be spending a lot of money onto him. So that was not all about Manchester United. I think, secondly, on the side of Manchester United, it was all about the team that was negotiating the deal. John Mata, Richard Arnold, all the people involved into this, the mad judges of this world, were naive when it comes obviously doing these transfers. By the way, United, after Sir Alex Ferguson, went ahead to win transfers, not because they're really good at negotiation, but because they offered the best money to the club that was really selling the player, and they also went ahead to offer the best salary to a player coming in through the club of Manchester United. But right now, we are winning these races because we can really sit down and negotiate and not pay what we call the United tax. So nothing is attached to Frankie de Jong, and everyone who has a grudge on Frankie de Jong that he came up and obviously put in a very bad decision for this deal to cripple, you are wrong about what you're saying. You need to revise your notes. Frankie de Jong wanted to come to Manchester United. He had given green light to Erik ten Hag that I want to come there and play for you. But the problem was our negotiating team. Our negotiating team was really a very huge problem, because Barcelona had gone ahead to make a decision to obviously sell on this player. And to show you that they had already gone ahead to make a decision to sell Frankie de Jong, you saw the position in which they're even playing him. In the preseason, they played him as a centre-back. You understand? And he never even went ahead to start the games of the La Liga, not until the summer transfer window went ahead to close. And then Xavi had to know that the player is here to stay, because no club can sign him, as he has deferred wages of 17 million euros. So anyone who hates Frankie de Jong, you are hating him for no good reason, and it's you who is really naive. You are very naive at what you are really saying as a person. Right? So, I believe that we should rectify that. But United approaching Barcelona, as rumored, will be a very good move for me, because for Frankie de Jong, I can spend anything. Even if they call in for £70 million, I can spend it. He's 27 years of age. He still has some 4 seasons of really some good active football. And when you bring in Frankie de Jong, you are really also aiding the youngsters to obviously come in through and really take some time to come in through and obviously have a very good person to learn from, because I believe Dango, Kobe Collier, which other player plays in the midfield, those two can come in through and obviously become better players as Frank de Jong ages them in these next 3 years. And 3 years from now, there might be those players that are really going to be playing in the midfield of Manchester United in a very exciting manner. So Frankie de Jong has a lot, and that's why I'm like, we should obviously go for him and obviously sign him at the club of Manchester United, because I know he's really a player of good quality. Now, Michael continues to let us know that Manchester United are open to completing a deal for de Jong if a fee around 30 to 40 million pounds mark can be agreed. So For Barcelona, I think 40 million pounds, like 50 million euros for Frenkie de Jong with 3 years left on his contract, and the player doesn't want to renew his contract. I think a deal can be done. And that shows you that this is the amount of money that United are willing to spend on a midfielder. And that's why they really left the deal of Manuel Ugarte, because they felt like we are having 40 million pounds. And if I were to convert 40 million pounds to euros, pounds to euros, let's convert and see what result do we get. It's 40. So 40 million pounds, you know, are 47 million euros. So meaning that United can spend north of 50 million euros on a player. And I think that was their plan, and that's the price they had in their head when they're obviously going to go in for a player called Manuel Ugarte. And PSG was like, get us 70 million euros. And it was like, we are not even coming to 60 that you guys went ahead to buy that player. And I think that's really good for Manchester United. And I believe at that price, we can agree a deal with Barcelona. We can really agree a deal with Barcelona. And remember, Barcelona are looking in for a left forward. You know, that is something that it's a story that I believe is really going to come up very soon, because Barcelona is looking in for left forward. And in the due course of Barcelona looking in for left forward, you know what it is? Barcelona have gone ahead to find themselves into a mix of really putting in a very huge shift in wanting Jadon Sancho, right? So you never know, a swap might be made. We give you Jadon Sancho, you get us Frenkie de Jong. I think that is the best way we can do that business of Frenkie de Jong, by the way, as it was a plan, or an optional plan between United and PSG. If PSG really wanted Jadon Sancho, you know, and they had gone ahead to approach Manchester United, it would have gone ahead to make a lot of sense if I told Manchester United had gone ahead obviously come up and say, you are having a player that we want in the names of you are having a player that we want in the names of what is he called? What is it? What are his names? You're having a player that we want in the names of you are having a player that you want in the names of what is his name? The guy is called Frenkie de Jong. Sorry, de Jong. I think we're talking about Ugarte and Frenkie de Jong. Sorry, Ugarte and Jadon Sancho. Then you are having Ugarte, get us Ugarte, we get you Sancho. You know? And right now, with Barcelona in for a player called Jadon Sancho, the interest is still there. We can obviously do the needful and really try to do a swap and really see to it that we really get in Frenkie de Jong, because we need a central defensive midfielder at the club of Manchester United. And that price for me is really okay. And if a United fan and you're not really interested in Frenkie de Jong, then you don't know what it means getting the best into the best positions. And this is where people get it wrong, you know, when they really say, we don't want Frenkie de Jong. Do you know what you're talking about? He's one of the best CDMs in the world, you know. That man can really create assists in his own half, you know. He's really talented, and he's a precious stand player. He's a 1 in a million player. He's a player that fits in every team in the world. No manager can bench Frenkie de Jong. Even if he comes in at Man City, he'll play on merit in that midfield of Man City. He'll play on merit in that midfield of Arsenal. He'll play on merit in that midfield of Liverpool. He'll play on merit in that midfield of Real Madrid. He'll play on merit in that midfield of Bayern Munich, midfield of PSG. Name any team in the world, Frenkie de Jong gets into that team. Now, who are you known to be interested in a player that can play in every midfield in the world? You get? Frenkie de Jong, I tell you this, he's one of a kind. He's one of a kind. And he's really one of those players that I really yearn for to come in through and obviously showcase their goodies at the club of Manchester United. I really love the player. I'm madly in love with the player. I just love whatever he does. And he's really one of those that I've gone ahead obviously give in a very huge support to see to it that he comes in through and puts in a shift with the club of Manchester United. Then, before I get into your comment section, Michael Planet said it remains unclear if Barcelona would be willing to sell De Jong this summer, as Hans Flick wants to keep him. Now, the problem is the board is like, let's obviously sell the player. You get? And Hans Flick is like, even when I were at Bayern Munich, I was interested in obviously getting this player to the club. Now, why should we obviously move him on? You get? Why should we obviously move him on? That is what the man is really looking at. And you obviously understand. You get? Why he doesn't want to lose him, because he's really one of a kind. And for Barcelona, they're really working a lot onto other transfers, and we are waiting to see what decision is really going to be made by the side of Barcelona onto this guy. But he's so much linked to the club of Manchester United, and a lot is happening to the guy, and he's really great to see to it that he comes in and really puts in a very huge shift for the next club. But a decision has to be made. If you ask Erik ten Hag, can I get you Frenkie de Jong? Or any day he'll say, get me that player. You saw it well onto a player called Matthias de Ligt. He said that he wanted Matthias de Ligt 2 years back, you know, and he's like, if there is any chance for me to get the player, I'll obviously get him, because I know he has special qualities that I've gonna have to look for in a very long time. And you remember when Erik ten Hag came in here, he told the board, pause all the summer transfer plans and first get in Frenkie de Jong, as Frenkie de Jong are going to have to give him a good light that he wants to come in through and really join the club of Manchester United. Let's go to Adepare Opeyemi. Good morning. Songa Fataki, we have a question, brother. All right, go ahead and really post your question in there for you. Then Chilapia Aradi, we have to swallow our pride and buy de Jong. He's the best among our targets. That's what I'm telling people. He's the best that we have amongst those players. If at all there is a chance for him to come into the club of Manchester United, let us get him on. And he's that kind of player that you believe, even if you bring him at the club of Manchester United and offer him £300,000 a week, he's worth it, because he's really a quality player. Fred Kabaya, good morning. Aradi, good morning. Promise says, good morning. Rokani, good morning. Songa Fataki, Frank de Jong is a good player if he joins to Manchester United. Can be very nice because he can help Mayuno to change his football. I like that player. Yeah, if at all there is a player you want Kobe Mainoo to learn from, I think it should be Frenkie de Jong. And that midfield will obviously go ahead to obviously overpower many midfields in the world, and will help us into what we call the ball retention, because we won't lose possession anyhow, as those two players, even when they're in a forest of legs, I tell you, they will tell you, get me the ball, because they know to it that they cannot lose it. They rarely lose the ball. Promise, I hope this guy can do very well in Man United. Let's hope and see when he comes in through. Nixon, good morning. Unless he's willing to drop his salary demands, then okay. If he's looking for weekly wages, he can be on the club roster. Yeah, I tell you, do you think United, way back in 2022, we are going to give him a salary of like 400 or £500,000? No. I think the deal agreed was around 300 to 350,000 pounds a week, and that is really very good. So he can come in throughout Manchester United, and I think he can be offered that salary. That is it. Olport Charles, he's a good player, but his salary is really huge for even Man United. Guys, De Jong can really take a pay cut. That is it. But his wages are too high. That's what it's. I know they are too high, but I tell you, he can take a pay cut. You mean we're going to bring him through to pay him £500,000 2 years back? No, not really. But David, is there hope for Sancho to play this season? Yeah, hope is there for Sancho to play this season. And the manager is like, if he continues to really improve, really look better, he's going to get into the team. And you know, Erik ten Hag, he's not a manager who is really who acts onto favoritism. He's a manager who gets you on the pitch when you deserve it and you have to show in training. And for him, he doesn't consider what he really did in the previous game. Ten Hag considers what you've gonna have to do during the training sessions. Then Fred Kabaya, for me, I'm interested in a player and I love him, but sold at how much? That is the question. United want to pay close to £40 million, and how much do Barcelona value the player? When you go to the transfer the transfer market, he's valued at 70 million euros. That is like 60 million pounds, meaning that the gap will be really that. Remember, we had gone to agree a deal way back of 80 million euros to obviously sign Frenkie de Jong to the club of Manchester United, but it never really came to pass, meaning that if at all 2 years back when he had a contract of 5 years left, he was valued for 80 million euros. That is like 72 million pounds. That means Frenkie de Jong can now go for 50 and 60 million euros. I think it can really happen that way, if at all I'm not really mistaken. Then Upper Alex, we will love to see him at the club of Manchester United, right? Allow Dinkins. Let us get him and Amrabat, because we are now missing a CDM seriously. Yeah, that is it. Alfred Sendwe, what's the injury history of the player? And I've got to see someone else saying that Frenkie de Jong is an injury-prone player. Now, let's see how Frenkie de Jong is going to feature. You know, last season of 2023-2024, right? Frenkie de Jong had what we call an ankle sprain injury. It kept him out for 61 days. Then he had a fever, kept him out for 4 days. Then an ankle injury, 35 days. And he missed 6 games. And the ankle injury that he really got that saw him really miss out on the Euros. And he kept him out for 108 days, missed 7 games, meaning that last season, 2023-2024, he went ahead to miss out on to 21, 22, 28 games. You know, out of the 60 plus games, he missed out on 28, meaning that he played, let me see how many games he played for Barcelona. De Jong, last season, how many games did you play for Barcelona? In the La Liga, he played 20 games. In the Champions League, he played 5. Those are 25. Then 2 games in the Super Espana. That is 27. So he played close to 30 games last season. He averaged 30 games last season. But it's not really a regular issue for him to obviously get injured a lot, because in 2022, 2023, he missed out on just 9 games, you know. 2021, 2022, he missed out on 6 games, 7 games. So he's not an injury prone player, but I believe last season never really came on to his levels. That is it. But I believe he's not an injury prone player. That is it. Mr. Chipa, let's try and get deals done. We have always hand in rumors, Man United identity players for other clubs hoping to change. All right. Movies Empire, injury prone, not injury prone. Not injury prone for me, because injury prone is like you saw Anton Martial. That's the name of injury prone. If a player can get you 30 to 35 games a season, and this is his worst ever injury record at Barcelona, and I know why it was like that, because they never allowed him to heal completely. They really went ahead to hurry him from the sick bay. But if at all you give him ample time, he'll obviously get you the levels that you want in as a player. Then I'm having Adrian. No, Frenkie de Jong, his salary is too much, plus he doesn't love the club. What else doesn't love the club of Manchester United? He never. What failed him to come at Manchester United was because of Barcelona not being able to pay the deferred wages of 17 million euros to the player, and he still demands them his money and he wants it. You understand? Katinisa, hey already, good morning. Elijah Dam, he's an injury prone man. Not really. Go ahead and really check your stats very well. A player having, and even, let me give you an example. He's a player who missed out onto very many games. You know, I think like 20 games a season, but that is his worst injury record, you know. And it came in through because they really hurried him out of the sick bay, because they needed him to come back and really play, and they never had a player like him. But Frenkie de Jong has not been an injury prone player. An injury prone player is that kind of player who has going to have to spend like 2, 3, 4 seasons consecutively when he's always injured most of the season. You understand? That is it. Tibedindwa, he's good, but his salary is too high. He can take a pay cut. I tell you, he can take a pay cut. That is it. Police Innocent, good morning. Then Bonnie Genius, Frenkie didn't want to come to Manchester United at first. Guys, do you think that Erik ten Hag would have wanted to tell the board of Manchester United to pause all the transfers and first agree a deal of Frenkie de Jong? He had gone ahead to give his green light to Erik ten Hag that I want to come through and play for the club of Manchester United. That is it. So, don't come out and say that he denied or snubbed Manchester United. He never snubbed the club of Manchester United. Sentongo Pius, we don't need de Jong. Good morning, Aradi. You need to revise your stats. Go ahead and really look at the stats of Frenkie de Jong. Compare him to any of the players that you think can be a CDM at the club of Manchester United, and his stats will speak volumes. And you'll come here and thank me later. Oweta Salmon, very old. All right, according to it's very old, but these are stories that are really just gonna have to get broken in a nick of time. So guys, it has been nice having you onto this channel. This is the United Matters channel. We end the chat and the fans of United have gone ahead to speak. 74% are calling in for Frenkie de Jong to come in through, and 25% are like he shouldn't coming in through at the club of Manchester United. So guys, thank you for watching it through. It's a good morning from me and all the viewers. It has been nice talking to you. We are going to be coming back into 3 hours from now with the latest news and information that's going to be dropping in through from the club of Manchester United. I love you, Die. Thank you for obviously keeping it this channel. And guys, let everyone do the needful. I'm having Victor Samok. I think Frenkie de Jong is good, but can he take less than £250,000? It depends on the deal that United is really going to give him. Because if he comes in through and really performs well, they can obviously give him a performance-based contract that you come in through and really perform better, you'll see your contract hit £30,000. And I think, sorry, £300,000 a week. That is it. It's really possible, and it can really happen and give us a very huge goal. So guys, for everyone that's been part of this video, we sign out for now. See you later, and continue to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Ciao, ciao.